Parents are welcome to keep children with them in the chapel, leave them in the care of our experienced child care team, or stay and play with them in the child play space. Coloring and activity sheets and quiet games for older kids are available in the back of the chapel. For those gathered in the chapel, I invite you to put your phones on airplane mode, or as we like to call it, worship mode, so that you and all may be fully present and free from distraction, as well as freeing up web bandwidth so our live streaming friends are able to enjoy the service without disruption. And now, let's do what we do best in this congregation and welcome one another, newcomers and long-timers alike. Let the welcoming begin.
Yes, just the music during the, yeah, that's fine. Sure, if it ends. Our opening words are from the Kalidasa. Thank you. Kalidasa was a 4th or 5th century classical Sanskrit author who was often considered ancient India's greatest poet and playwright. These are opening words, not only because they open our time of worship, but because they are meant to open us up, to open our hearts and minds to the possibility that we are worthy, all finding our place in the family of things. Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the verities and realities of your existence, the bliss of growth, the glory of action, the splendor of beauty. For yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day.
It is our custom when we gather to light a flaming chalice. The chalice is a cup or vessel that symbolizes the gathered community. The flame represents the spark that each one of us brings to represent the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of our commitment to bring more compassion and justice to the world. Please join me in our chalice lighting words. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of our life together. Each week, as we light the chalice to symbolize the gathered community, we also acknowledge that our church is built on holy ground, ground that was first cultivated and occupied by the Haudenosaunee and those known as the Neutrals. We honor them and the land as we plant and tend gardens, blaze and tend trails, and cut and replace invasive species with native ones. We call that space the Ecology Center, a place to teach and learn and to listen to and speak for the diversity of plants and wildlife. We offer this libation as our giveaway, a symbol of our respect for and deep connection with the land. May we be good stewards of the land and courageously cultivate community with all living things. Our song of intention this morning is found in the gray hymnal, Come, Come, Whoever You Are, number 188. This musical setting of a poem by the Sufi poet Rumi invites us to the beauty and adventure of community. We're going to do it together once, and then as a round. Linda, I hand you your weapon. This is Linda, for those who don't know. I will take part one. She will direct part two. I expect full and enthusiastic participation in Michelle's absence. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Part one. Come, come, whoever you are. Come, come.
worshiper, lover of living. Ours is no care
again,
of despair.
again.
Come yet again, come.
You are
Come, come, whoever you are.
leaving,
Wanderer, worshipper, lover of living. Ours is no care
again,
of despair. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are. Wanderer, worshipper, lover of living. Ours is no care than of despair. Come yet, come.
Very nice.
We are a beloved community, a gathering of people who have chosen to journey together, to encourage one another, and to be part of something important and life-changing. Because we aspire to be such a people, we make bold promises about how we will be with one another. Whether today is your first time or you've made UU Amherst your longtime home, you are invited to share in our sacred promise. Together, we promise to gather in compassionate community to celebrate the diversity of and liberty of spirit and be a hope for our children, and our world.
Each week, we pause to bear witness to one another's joy and pain, to make room in the circle and in our hearts for all that we bring. You'll note that the table where we acknowledge our joy and pain is round, a gathering place. Even as you bring your individual hopes and cares, you are part of a circle of love. So gather round, exchange a glance, a smile, even an encouraging touch. We can let go of neat lines and embrace the messiness of community. Come forward and place your stone in the company of others. Let's share a few breaths as we expand our circle to include those who may not be present, but whom we carry in our hearts. We bring them into our circle of love and care. Those who are ill. Those who are in pain, either in body or in spirit. Those who are lonely. Those who are overwhelmed and feeling lost. Those who have been wronged. We are part of a web of life that makes us one with all humanity, one with all the universe. We are grateful for the miracle of consciousness that we share, the consciousness that gives us the power to remember, to love, to care. May it ever be so in our lives. Amen and blessed be. We are now going to sing 1031 in the hymnal. Apparently there are 3 slides for 3 verses. James was just playing the melody for you during the labyrinth, so you should all be set. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole.
The gift of nothing.
Oop. Apparently we're stopping at 2. Now we stopped, it's too late. Time for all ages apparently will be the gift of nothingness.
The Gift of Nothing by Patrick MacDonald. It was a special day, and Mooch wanted to give his best friend Earl a gift. But what to get him? He had a bowl, he had a bed, he had a chewy toy, he had it all. Mooch thought and thought, what do you get someone who has everything? Nothing. He would give Earl the gift of nothing. But in this world filled with so many somethings, where could he find nothing? Mooch often heard friends say there was nothing on TV. But as far as Mooch could tell, there was always something on TV. Mooch often heard Dozy and her friends say there was nothing to do. But as far as Mooch could tell, everybody was always doing something. Millie came home from the store and said there was nothing to buy. So Mooch went shopping. Mooch looked up and down every aisle. He found many, many, many somethings. The latest this, the newest that, but as far as he could tell, nothing was not for sale. So Mooch went home and sat on his pillow and just stayed still, as cats often do. And not looking for it, he found nothing. So he went and got a box and put nothing in it. Then Mooch thought, maybe Earl deserves more than this. So he got a bigger box. Now that's plenty of nothing. For me, said Earl. Mooch, you didn't have to give me anything. Who told him? Thought Mooch. There's nothing here, said Earl. Yes, said Mooch, nothing. But me and you. So Mooch and Earl just stayed still and enjoyed nothing and everything. The end. Thank you for watching. Come visit us at catherineome.com.
And now we will have the children's recessional. James will play us in because I always get the tune wrong. With love we send you on your way, and peaceful ways to grow in spirit, heart, and mind, and be a light to humankind. Thank you for the save.
Have you ever seen anything in your life more wonderful than the way the sun, every morning, relaxed and easy, floats toward the horizon and into the clouds or the hills or the rumpled sea and is gone? And how it slides again out of the blackness every morning on the other side of the world, like a red flower streaming upward on its heavenly oils, say, on a morning in early summer, at its perfect imperial distance. And have you ever felt for anything such wild love? Do you think there is anywhere in any language a word billowing enough for the pleasure that fills you as the sun reaches out, as it warms you, as you stand there empty-handed? Or have you too turned from this world? Or have we too gone crazy for power, for things, for things, for things? That poem was by Mary Oliver. The power of nothing, how an absence of dogma may bring us together. You may have heard that nothing cures the common cold. Today, I want to discuss how it may be able to do very much more. People have been thinking about nothing for a long time. For example, from the 5th century philosopher Socrates up to the 20th and 21st century scientists like Stephen Hawking and Lawrence Krauss, there have been thinkers examining the concept of nothing. What varies is how and why one thinks about nothing. I believe that when Socrates said, "This I know nothing," he may have been saying that in a dialogue or debate, he was in a better position than some others, since he knew he did not know everything, whereas some in his time knew little, but thought they knew everything. Another way of thinking about nothing was expressed in a YouTube video I recently viewed called The Garden of Nothing, produced by Silent Wood Industries. In this video, a person expresses the view that the greater part of everything we see is made up of nothing. And in a world of too much something, we need more thoughts of nothing. To me, this almost seems Buddhist in nature. The second noble truth of Buddhism is that human suffering is caused by our attachments to desires or things. When looked at scientifically, we find that recent theories suggest that nothing may play a larger role in our universe than we have realized. Lawrence Krauss, a theoretical physicist at Arizona State University, has published a book titled Our Universe from Nothing, Why There Is Something Rather Than Nothing. He has said, we live in a universe dominated by nothing. 70% of the energy of the universe resides in empty space, and we don't have the slightest idea why it is there. Its existence is probably tied to the very nature of space and time and the origin of the universe. In an interview on CNN 10 years ago, cosmologist Krauss said that based on his understanding of quantum mechanics, he believed that it is plausible but not proven, that time and matter and the very universe were created out of nothing. However, these are not the aspects of nothing that I want to explore today. What I want to talk about is that idea of nothing explored in the short book and video presentation, The Gift of Nothing, which was shared with you earlier in the service. As you may recall in the story, acted by Mooch and the cat and Earl the dog, it was a special day. And Mooch wanted to get his best friend Earl a gift. Mooch, believing that Earl had everything he needed, struggled to come up with an idea for a gift for his friend. Suddenly, he came up with the idea of nothing. Why not give him a gift of nothing? We see the struggle Mooch had looking for nothing in a jungle of some things. In the end, after receiving the box of nothing, we see Earl. We see Earl celebrating with his best friend Mooch, sitting on the back of their favorite couch, looking out of their favorite window, separated by nothing. You see, like many people, what Earl wanted most was just simply to be with his friend in a relationship, separated by nothing. So what does this nothing, which allows us to be together, have to do with religion, with Unitarian Universalism? Well, I think it has a lot to do with it, particularly in today's world. One way to look at the world of religion is to use our imagination and stand back for a moment and seeing all the world religions as one giant patch quilt. In this quilt, each patch represents differing religious beliefs and traditions. Traditions developed over time in response to local human challenges, needs, and trends. If you look closely at the patch, you may imagine a dot in each of the patches. Some of the dots are large, some of the dots are small. These dots represent dogmas, beliefs, unchanging for the most part, that act as a center of gravity holding members together. I think many of us would agree that in some instances these very dogmas can repel others, separate peoples, and create boundaries. As we continue to look at our imaginary quilt, we notice that there is one patch that has no dot in its center. It has nothing. Yes, there are a few fading remnants of dots or dogmas from which it evolved, but spread throughout this patch are a set of principles. The patch is the Unitarian Universalist Unitarian Universalist patch. It has nothing in its center. Now, if one looks really close, one may become aware of something that has been right before us all the time, but never really noticed in this quilt. It is a quilt. It's a patch quilt made up of imperfect patches. Every patch has some flaws. It is a patchwork quilt of imperfect patches bound together by the finest, strongest, and thinnest of threads. These threads are the threads of wonder, of awe. These are the threads of questioning, of seeking. These are the threads that ask, what does it mean? These are the threads that try to answer the questions of where did we come from? Why are we here? How can we live in health? How can we live in peace? The threads that ask, what do we do about birth, about growth, about death? The threads that ask, what do we do about injustice, gossip, failure, sickness, evil? How do we handle fear, mistrust? How do we handle shame? It is a quilt held together by the longings, joys, and questionings of human beings, human communities that are struggling with very, very similar problems and celebrating very, very similar joys. Granted, these communities pretty much face the same questions, but because of differing circumstances, differing paths taken, have come up with differing answers. However, taking a further look, one may see that these fine, thin threads of religion not only bind together humanity, but our humanity. Within this humanity, there seems to be a misunderstanding, though. Even though each community is concerned with the very same issues, joys and sorrows, there is very little communication among each group. And many would agree that in a world with a violent history and rapidly changing technology and misuse of scientific discoveries, there is need for increased dialogue. In the last century, the world witnessed the release of tremendous power residing within the structure of atoms. Some imagine that these nuclear forces are among the greatest powers in the world. However, there may be more powerful forces residing within the human being, as well as human communities. These forces include the powers of fear, of hate, of revenge, and yes, the powers of love, compassion, and forgiveness. In a certain sense, these may be more powerful because it is the illusionary forces of fear, hate, and revenge that create by our perceived separateness from others and the perceived boundaries between peoples that set and reset in motion the sequence of events that create the wars, weapons, as well as the increasingly powerful nuclear weapons that on any or every day may release destructive forces on our fellow humans, creatures, and the earth. Eknathaswaran, a teacher and co-founder of the Blue Mountain Retreat Center, has said simply, our sense of separateness makes us quarrelsome. Our sense of separateness makes us quarrelsome. In his book titled The Passage Meditation, he quotes Einstein as saying human beings are part of a whole, called by us the universe, a part of limited in time and space. She experiences himself or herself, his or her thoughts and feelings as something separate from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of their consciousness. This delusion is kind of a prison for us, restricting us to our personal beliefs, desires, and to the affection for a few people nearest to us. He goes on to say that our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circles of compassion to embrace all living creatures and all of the nature in its beauty. The task which Einstein speaks reminds me of a short poem titled Outwitted by Edwin Markham, which I paraphrase as follows. They drew a line that shut us out, heretics, rebels, things to flout. But love and I and we had the wisdom to win. We drew a circle and took them in. In a sense, Einstein may agree that nothing really separates us, but we are imprisoned and separated by from the larger community by culture-created boundaries of the circles we draw. I am also reminded at this time of Annie Besant's affirmation, which I had mentioned previously in a talk, O Hidden Life, that speaks to the life force that flows through all creation, enfolding us in one interconnected and interdependent web. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom. O hidden light, shining in every creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May all who feel themselves as one with thee know they are therefore one with every other. It may be speaking of the idea that through our self-centered delusion of separateness, we do not perceive that there is a force that is running through everything, connecting all life as an interdependent web of life, light, and love of which we are a part. The source of this force may be our own sun or suns of the universe. Astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson has said that, quote, we are not only figuratively, but we are literally stardust, unquote. We are not separate from the sun. We are part of the sun and are reminded this daily by its journey across the sky. The forces of the sun, moon, and earth flow through us, through all life, in a vast interconnected web. Nothing but illusions separate us. Is it possible that through just a slight change in perspective that we can become aware of that? I happen to see a few people yawning. I'm sorry about that. Is it possible, and that's no illusion, is it possible that through a slight chance in perspective, that we can become aware of that connectedness, a connectedness separated by nothing? Even though it has been known and exhibited for a long time that humans can be aggressive and survival of the fittest is a term that seems almost synonymous with evolution, some evolutionary scientists have recently said that cooperation as a survival mechanism is seen throughout nature. Compassion, the ability to perceive the pain of others, may be part of being human. Joan Chittister, a Benedictine sister, author and lecturer, has said, evolutionary scientists tell us that later-day evolution of the limbic brain, with its capacity for feeling, for emotion, for bonding, marks the human as more human, the less self-centered we are. She goes on to say that the brain, in other words, is hardwired for compassion. Compassion is the emotion that makes us aware of, that links us to those outside ourselves. It is the capacity for outreach. It enables us, it drives us to go forward beyond ourselves to the beating pulse of the rest of the world. Religion, with all their diversity of creeds and canons, all their conflicting claims, truth claims, all the standard brand of assertions and superiority, have two things in common. At the base of every religion, however distinct, are two pillars. One, the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and compassion, the unwavering ability to feel pain, the pain of others, that is not our own. She continues to say that we need to act now to help address the challenges that divide us, while there is still a world of compassion to cultivate. So, in a world where the forces of compassion have been blocked and thwarted by so many delusions, so many imaginary boundaries, what can we do? What can you do? I think we can begin to more actively engage in dialogue with members of not only our own congregation, with whom we may disagree, but members of other religions. Over the years, Unitarian Universalism has represented a breaking away from Christian denominations with which it had disputes over particular dogmas, or religion with no dogma, and has slowly evolved into a church or religion with no dogma. Instead, we have developed a set of core principles which, when followed, permit and encourage us to discover not only the common threads in our Unitarian Universalist congregations, but the common threads in the traditions that we broke away from, and the common threads we have with members of all religions. Looking closely at our 7 principles, we may see they are all about relationship. They can be seen as gifts from those who preceded us, seen not as dogmatic truths that have to be defended as such, but may be reimagined as tools, as behaviors, or approaches to assist us in growing healthfully and peacefully by helping to transform the imagined boundaries of separation and control. We need to reach out to others, not to convert, but to assist in meeting the challenges of this century, not the 19th century, not the 20th century, or the 18th century, or the 17th century, this century. When the 14th Dalai Lama recently said about Buddhism, what the 14th Dalai Lama recently said about Buddhism and its relation to other religions can probably be said about Unitarian Universalism. He said there are many religions seeking to bring comfort and happiness to humanity, just as there are many treatments for a particular disease. All religions endeavor to help living beings. Although we may prefer one religious perspective, there's a much stronger case for unity stemming from common desires of the heart. I do not think about converting others to Buddhism or furthering the Buddhist cause. Instead, I try to ask, as a Buddhist, how can I contribute to the happiness of all living beings? How can we as Unitarian Universalists contribute to the happiness of all? Our developing Unitarian Universalist non-dogmatic tradition locates us in a position from which we can be an effective participant in the needed dialogue. I believe our principles can guide and help us become aware, because if we start from a belief, I believe our principles can guide us and help us, because if we start from a belief in the inherent worth and dignity of all, act justly with equity and compassion, and accept and encourage spiritual growth, search for truth and meaning, act as though all voices matter in a democracy, have a goal of world peace, liberty, and justice in the world, and have a respect for the web of existence, this will affect how we perceive other congregations, other religions, and nations of the world. Of course, this is easier said than done, but even if we use them to review how we are doing, we are progressing. After all, they are guides, tools of ways of receiving the world, of those around us. Like any tool, to be of use, it must be picked up and used. These are behaviors. Their use as behaviors and openness to flexibility are important attributes. I'm reminded of something that Unitarian Universalist minister Reverend Martin Lavender said in a sermon addressing the need for interfaith dialogue. He mentioned that in India, he noticed that this gesture can mean, I bless you, I bless you. But this slightly different gesture can mean that I curse you. He said that the separated fingers represented the various religions and dogmas. If the separated fingers on the hand represent people or the separated religions, the UU Church, with its flexibility because of its lack of a dogma, that is, its nothingness, and its principles, its gifts of behavior, represented by the flexibility of the thumb, can communicate with each of the opposing separated groups and help to transform what is a curse into a blessing. This role is probably not just an ability, but a real opportunity. Should we begin to ask ourselves, how can we more effectively communicate with those we may disagree with in our congregations? Or can our church more effectively reach out to members of other faiths, focusing on not what separates us, but on what unites us? Not judging, not attacking, not evaluating, just listening, just sharing, just being present. Reach out not as competitors, but as co-participants, as co-creators, respecting the patchwork of dogmas and sharing our neighbors' sorrows, joys, questions, and answers. In summary, may the bright sunlight of the heart of love and compassion continue to flow, hopefully through moving beyond the somethings that separate us and hold us within our community, our silos. We may eventually be members of a much, much larger community, a community not separated by our attachments to things, but connected because of our attachment to nothing. Thank you for listening.
Please rise in body or spirit as we sing our response. Break Not the Circle, number 323 in the gray hymnal. Break not. All right, let's start that over, James. Heavy on the melody. from the very start. Break not the circle of enabling love, where people grow forgiven and forgiving. Break not that circle, make it wider still, till it includes, embraces all the living. Go wonder at this love that comes to life, where words of freedom are with humor spoken, and people keep no score of wrong and guilt, but will that human bonds remain unbroken? Join then the movement of the love that frees, till people of whatever race or nation will truly
Please join me as we close this portion of our service with these words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
As our service draws to an end, our service to the world is ready to begin. Let me tell you about some of the opportunities to connect and serve in the days to come. Each Sunday during the month of July, we are offering a Sunday morning Church of the Wild meditation time in the Ecology Center, just beyond our parking lot. Lorraine Marcus will be waiting at the entrance on Sunday mornings at 9:30. The meditation time is 45 minutes, so you'll have plenty of time to make it to the morning service. Are you curious what it might be like to meditate in nature among birdsong and rustling leaves? Find out yourself Sunday mornings at 9:30 a.m. Next week, our guest speaker will be local author and Canisius religion instructor John Snodgrass. John is a frequent guest to our pulpit and offers humorous and enlightening insights into various religions and their myths and practices. His topic next Sunday is Rabbit on the Moon. A surprising number of religions share the belief in bunnies as symbols of generosity, trickery, and creativity. Also next week, there will be activities in the Ecology Center for children during the worship time. Finally, see the church newsletter, The Forward, for information regarding upcoming services and events. Hard copies can be found in the lobby. The digital version is on our website, uuamherst.org. And of course, we would be remiss if we didn't invite you to participate in supporting the mission and ministry of UU Amherst with your financial gifts. You'll find a green basket at the back of the chapel to receive your contributions, or you can give online by going to our website, uuamherst.org, and clicking on the giving link, or text your gift to the number on the screen. Your gifts and participation are important because we pick fruit from trees we did not plant. We drink water from wells we did not dig. This is as it should be, so long as we dig and plant for those who come after us. Your generous giving supports the work of this congregation. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing our closing blessing. Remain standing afterward as we wait, we did the chalice, so never mind. Travel light. Travel light and travel easy till I see you once again. Travel light and travel easy, and remember I'm your friend. May the road rise up to greet you as you leave
These are the words of John O'Donohue. It is heart-rending to see people who have no respect for themselves and are unaware of any light or beauty in their lives. We have a sacred responsibility to encourage and illuminate all that is inherently good and special in each other. It is a paradox of spiritual growth that although through such bleak winter journeys, we eventually come through a hidden door into a bright field of springtime that we could never have discovered otherwise. In the sheer vulnerability of our nothingness, everything becomes possible in a new day.
Go in peace.
Go ahead.
You gotta dismiss him.
He's holding the hand of the sister's hand. She's holding my hand. We are a circle of hands. Our lives unfold as we dance. We move, we change, we grow. We're face to face with the unknown. So hold the hand as you dive into the dance. Is this dream, this big dream, is it worthy of sacrifice? Is it worthy to give my life for this love, this huge love? I'm risking everything. I'm ready to change this dance, this wild dance. I'm riding on a circle of hands for this song, this plain old song. I'm willing to go on. Holding the hand of a brother's hand, who's holding the hand of a mother. She's holding the hand of a child's hand, who's holding the hand of another. He's holding the hand of a sister's hand. She's holding my hand. We are a circle of hands. Our lives unfold as we dance. We move, we change, and we grow. We're face to face with the unknown. So hold the hand as you dive into the dead. I'm holding the hand of a brother's hand who's holding the hand of a mother. She's holding the hand of a child's hand who's holding the hand of another. He's holding the hand of a sister's hand. She's holding